What's up, everybody? It is your boy Baddog here with something we haven't done in a while, whether it be a therapy session or a victory stream. But it's been a long time since I've done one of these. My hat looks crooked. My hat is crooked. Maybe my camera's crooked. Who the hell knows? Okay, I think that's right. Anyway, obviously a very disappointing loss. I don't know if you want to call it disappointing. I mean, the Giants aren't a very good team. Riding high on the coattails of a 3-game winning streak, and a very nice story in which was Tommy DeVito obviously comes to an end today at the hands of the New Orleans Saints. Saints obviously dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage, and when that happens, many teams are not going to win. It just is the way it is. The Saints are in they're locked in a battle for the NFC South. The Falcons today certainly helped them, but the Buccaneers were able to win today. So they are both at 7-7. But if you take a look at the game today, the Giants are unable to run the football whatsoever. They got zero pressure on Derek Carr. And, because of that, we really didn't have much of a chance. Game was 7-6 at half, but you could kind of feel the Giants really never had any momentum in this game at all, especially in the offensive side of the football. A couple of drops early didn't help. They couldn't protect DeVito. They certainly couldn't run the ball to save their life. And for my life, I can't understand why the Giants don't run the ball to the left. I swear to God, I mean, I watch all these games. Maybe I'm missing it, but I swear they constantly run the ball to the right side, which is their weak side. Why wouldn't they run it behind Andrew Thomas? I'll never understand this, why they don't do this. It's hard for me to fathom why they continue to run to that side of the field. I don't really understand it. It's difficult for me to figure out. Again, you can call it on coaching, you play calling, whatever you want. Appreciate it. Cortez, thank you for the $5 donation. Yes, by the way, guys and girls, in case you didn't notice, this stream tonight, in lieu of any super chats that are made to the channel, any donations this channel receives tonight will be going to Toys for Tots. It is that time of year. I like to always come out and do a fundraiser or two for Toys for Tots at a Salvation Army for Christmas. So any donations that are made to this channel tonight go straight to Toys for Tots. It is a fundraising stream, which means YouTube does not take any percentage of it. Obviously, people know they take a percentage of super chats, but when it's a fundraising stream, YouTube does not take any percentage. So 100% of any donations made to the channel tonight go to Toys for Tots. So set a goal over $300. We'll see if we reach that. We have reached better than that before. We've done a number of these fundraising streams. Toys for Tots is obviously a big one in December. I do Salvation Army. We've done Susan G. Coleman in the past. So we're doing that, but that's what we have tonight. So it is a fundraising stream. And like I said, all donations, 100% of every donation goes to Toys for Tots. So it is a holiday season. Christmas is 1 week away from tomorrow, which certainly looking forward to that without question. For my son, I'm looking forward to him opening his presents. Being a father, being a parent, it's much different when you have kids. And I know this because I didn't have a kid for a long time. Obviously, I'm almost 50. My son's 6, so it took a while, but I look forward to that. I also look forward to a couple of days off, and I definitely look forward to not having to call the Giants-Eagles game. I'm going to be honest with you guys and girls. I'm kind of tired at this point of the year of the New York Giants, of everything that goes on with the New York Giants, of doing New York Giants content. I really am kind of worn out. I'm glad I have just a couple more weeks of this. I'm really looking forward to the end of the year. And unfortunately, it seems that this has been the case for many years with the Giants, without question. Every year it just gets rougher and rougher and rougher. And sometimes you just don't want to deal with it. Honestly, it just is what it is. But we do it because we love the football team. And unfortunately, it's just really terrible. Waterfly, thank you for your $10 donation, man. Really appreciate that. Let's go. I don't know where I don't know why they don't have that. I thought they had the whatchamacallit. Maybe I guess they have it in the whatchamacallit. It doesn't show the goal. I thought it did show the goal at some point here. It does not. What the hell's that? I don't want that. But yeah. So it is what it is. Lakers Knicks Monday. Well, listen, I said this. I said this. Whoops, that's on it. Lakers Knicks Monday. Listen, I said last night during the. It wasn't last night. Sorry, it was Friday when the Spurs beat the Lakers. I said, who the hell in the Lakers is going to guard Jalen Brunson? Brunson dropped the 50 piece against the Suns. Right after I said that on Friday night. So, yeah, but Knicks and Lakers always good. It's a fun game for me to call, and I do expect the Knicks to beat the Lakers. I'd be surprised if they didn't, to be honest. It is what it is, So, I don't like that. I don't like that. I can't see. Like, if I want to bring up chats, like if I want to bring up the chat on StreamYard. I can't look at my chat on YouTube, but it does not show if anybody donates on StreamYard. Because it goes right. Again, it's not a donation for me per se. It goes to Toys for Tots. So I hate that. I don't like that at all. It is what it is. So it should be good. Listen, Big Kane. I think we've known we're far from a complete team. Like I said, this run with Tommy DeVito was great. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the hype. I enjoyed the winning. I'm a Giants fan. Mike Francesa says it best. It's what you do as a fan. You dream. You dream. You win games. You're happy. It's exalting. It's infectious. You ride the highs of a winning streak, and you ride, take the brunts of the lows during a losing streak. And unfortunately, the Giants have been on the other side of a lot of these things, or they just don't play well and they're just outclassed. And that's what the Saints did to them today. They were just outclassed. The Saints are not really a good football team, but they're better than we are. And they were better up front than we are, as most teams are. Again, you don't get the 2-8 because you have one bad player. You get the 2-8 because your team isn't very good. And then again, you win 3 in a row. You're feeling good about yourself. You beat Washington, which I could quarterback the Giants beat Washington. Let's be honest. Washington never beats us. And Washington got crushed again today. They pulled Sam Howell. Sam Howell ain't it. I know Washington fans get all mad. They get defensive of Sam Howell. That guy ain't it. He's not it. I don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't be surprised if Washington drafted a quarterback at this point. They're not a good team. They're terrible. And then, of course, we know what the Patriots are. And the Packers, that win looks less impressive because the Packers got drubbed today by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Baker Mayfield went off for almost 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in that game. And obviously with the Eagles on deck, like I said, I'm glad that game's on Christmas. It saves me the pain of having to stream that thing. So I don't get an Eagles Giants game this year, because obviously when we come back, it'll be my turn on Christmas Eve, and then Chris will do the game January 7th, and then the year will be over. And then we'll worry about the draft in April for sure. Is Yamamoto coming to the Yankees, man? I don't know. I hope so. We got a good chance. Yankees got a good chance of landing him. But there's a lot of teams out there. I think if Yamamoto gets to choose and he doesn't want the most money, I don't think the Yankees are going to freaking give him a crap, offer. I think $320 million is in the ballpark. I think all teams are going to offer him about that. And he'll make the decision. So we'll see. I think the Yankees have a chance to get Yamamoto, but I don't think it's 100% sure, without question. So we'll see. We will see what we will see. It is what it is. Yeah, perfect pass rating for Baker. It doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me. I was something I wanted to see there, and I don't know if it just disappeared or wherever it went. I don't know. I don't know where the hell it went. Become a Ravens fan? Nah, I'm not going to become. Listen, man, I've been a Giants fan for 40 years. There's no way that I would switch teams. It's never going to happen. As bad as the Giants have been. Listen, the Giants may never win again in my lifetime, man. I saw a lot of good seasons with the Giants. There's other teams and other fan bases that have certainly had it worse than we have, or that I have. Listen, there's not many teams in the history of the NFL with 4 Lombardis. And certainly there's not many fan bases that have seen their team win 4 Lombardis. Right? We can talk about the Cowboys all you want, but unless you're about 60 some odd years old, you're not old enough to remember, or at least in your late 50s, you're not old enough to remember. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you'd have to be in your 60s to have seen them win all 5. You'd have to be in your middle 50s to have seen them win 4. Washington's never won 4. The Packers, you'd have to be God knows how old to have seen the Packers win 4 Super Bowls. You'd have to be a little bit older than me to have seen the Steelers win all their 4 their Super Bowls. So in recent history, I don't know, last decade's been rough, but the Giants have won 1 Super Bowl in the last 4 decades. They're the only team to do that. If history repeats itself, I keep telling you that in 2027, the Giants are going to win a Super Bowl. 2028. It just makes perfect sense. The year I was born, they were terrible. The year my son was born, they were terrible. 5 years old, the Giants made the playoffs, won a playoff game. Were really bad the next year. Son was 5 years old. Giants made the playoffs, won a playoff game, really bad the next year. Giants won a Super Bowl when I was 11 years old, right? Son will be 11, 2028. They're going to win a Super Bowl in 2028. And it'll also be 17 years. 17 years from 1990 to 2007, 17 years from 2011 to 2028. I'm telling you, that's when they're going to do it. Just hang in there. But the next next year could be bad too. We'll see. I'll be very interested to see how they, again, we don't know where we're drafting. We don't know what Shane wants to do. We have no idea. But we have to trust in Joe Shane to do the right thing. And if he wants quarterback, he'll find a way to get a quarterback. And if he doesn't want to reach in a quarterback or doesn't feel that the quarterbacks in this draft class are what he wants to pass, he's not, you can't just take a quarterback to take one. You really have to have faith. Because if you take a quarterback just to draft one, you end up in a really bad situation. It happens. You miss on a quarterback, as we're seeing now, Giants fans. You miss on a quarterback, and people can make all the excuses in the world they want for Daniel Jones. The fact of the matter is, Daniel Jones has a losing record. The Giants have a very poor record since he was drafted. I'm not saying that's all his fault, but these are facts. Okay? It happens. It's not easy to get a franchise quarterback. It doesn't always happen. It's very difficult to find a guy like that. Ask the Bears. Ask the Jets. It's not easy. So you take a quarterback that just isn't the guy, regardless of the situation. You end up where the Giants are. This happens. Carolina, I don't know what's going to end up with them. No, they did win today, but my God, they're 2-12. And they have no first-round pick. And they sold their soul for Bryce Young. And Bryce Young stinks. And Bryce Young is no good. Carolina just set themselves back a number of years. That happens. Bears. Justin Fields ain't that guy. Set themselves back years with that. Made a good trade, though, this year. They can get out of it now. But it ain't easy, man. You miss and you get set back. It is what it is. But one thing I'll say is I've seen people say, the Giants, these meaningless wins the Giants have cost us. These meaningless wins. Who are they meaningless to? Who are they meaningless to? If they're meaningless to you, what is your opinion? Like how much weight? The one thing I noticed on social media, people really think their opinions matter more than they do. Meaningless to who? To you as a fan? That's not what matters at the end of the day. We don't play the game. We're not in the locker room. We're not in the front office. Our jobs aren't on the line. I'm not going to lose my job where I work because the Giants lost. They could lose theirs if they lose. They could lose theirs if they don't perform well. The Giants don't perform well. It doesn't affect my life whatsoever. It just makes me upset as a fan. But to say wins are meaningless, they're meaningless to us. They're meaningless to you. So for some fans, that 3-game winning streak meant a lot. So that one I'll never figure out. Meaningless win. Meaningless to you does not mean meaningless to them. It means it meant nothing to you. It's like everything in life. What you deem meaningless or worthless, somebody else may not deem meaningless or worthless. It's just a matter of perspective. But that one always makes me laugh. Oh, we blew our. You know, if the Giants had the first pick in the draft, they take Caleb Williams. He's not good. We don't know yet. But the Carolina Panthers took Bryce Young. He looks terrible. Tommy DeVito has as many, well, he might not now, but he had as many touchdowns as Bryce Young in 4 starts as Bryce Young did all year. So who knows? Can't say they're meaningless. You don't know what the hell happens. You don't know what goes on. You don't know what the quarterback is going to be. You don't have no idea. You know, look at there's a bunch of quarterbacks that get drafted up in the top of the draft class and they fail. And there's some quarterbacks that get drafted later on in the first round and they're good. Lamar Jackson went to the end of the first round. He's a pretty damn good quarterback. Aaron Rodgers went 24th overall in 2005. He ended up being a pretty good quarterback. They don't always need to be a top 5 guy. The fact of the matter is the Giants got a lot of work to do here besides the quarterback. And it starts in the trenches. But they do. I mean, they do. They need a lot. That's why this team's been bad for a decade. You're not bad for a decade. If you make the playoffs a bunch of times, you have one bad year, that's a different story. When you're bad for a decade and you have one year where it's an outlier and you make the postseason, it's because you're not a good team. You know, you had one good year, you won a lot of close games. But it doesn't matter. And the thing is, again, these are our opinions. I like Caleb Williams. I think Caleb is the best quarterback in this draft class. I'm not a Drake May fan. That don't mean shit. I'm nobody. I'm a guy on YouTube. Drake May could be the greatest thing since Tom Brady. Caleb Williams could be Jamarcus Russell. Like, I don't know what's going to go on. I'm not paid to do that. And even the best, the guys that are the GMs, miss on their draft picks. So it happens. There is no guarantees. There is no guarantee. No matter where you're drafting, no matter who you draft, there is no guarantee. Your odds may be better, obviously. You take a quarterback in the top 5 as opposed to the 5th round. Yeah, you got a better shot at the top 5 guy succeeding than the 5th round guy. But you never know. Tom Brady was drafted 199th overall. Brock Purdy was drafted 262nd overall. Tony Romo went undrafted. And again, those are the exception to the rule, but you don't know. You know, you have no idea what's going to go on. And that's why I'm just like, I don't really care one way or the other. If they win, I'm happy they win. And if they lose, I'm not going to get upset that they lost. After that Seattle game, I emotionally checked out of this season. I really did. That's just the way it is. I just think I'm getting to a point in my life where I'm just getting too old and it's not worth it for me to get upset over this shit anymore. And that's just the way it goes. I don't think it's worth. There's just more important things at this juncture in my life. It's just a fact. So, like I said, I emotionally checked out after week 4. I knew at that point this season that we had no chance. I felt like we should have been able to beat Seattle and to get blown out in the fashion that we did with Buffalo and Miami on deck. I kind of figured that was it. The week 1 game obviously was a gigantic letdown. And it was pretty obvious that we were not where we thought, well, at least we were not where I thought we would be. I don't know where everybody else thought we would be. But, it is what it is. We'll see what Joe Shane does. Joe Shane wants that guy, he'll get that guy. It is what it is. Ayub, I'm not pushing. What are you talking about? Pushing a narrative that we don't need top talent. What the fuck are you talking about? I never said that shit ever. I said you don't know. You not listen? Do you just select and pick and choose to what I say? I just told you. There's no guarantees, but obviously when you're drafting higher, you have a better chance of hitting on a pick. It's just terrible. But it is what it is. And like I said, man, this was just I guess a dose of reality. The Eagles on deck. I wanted to obviously I wanted to win. I wanted the Eagles game to really mean something. But every time I get myself pumped up for a game, Every time I get myself pumped up, this happens inevitably. I even tweeted it out. I said, how are we feeling today? And somebody said, it's the first time since week 1 that I'm excited, and which means a disaster is incoming. I said, I'm glad I'm not the only one that felt like that. And I hope that I'm wrong. But I don't know. I don't know, man. It is what it is. It's just it's been a rough year. It's been a rough few years. Last year was a lot of fun, man. I mean, I don't. It was rare that we've gotten to experience good Giants football. I mean, for me, I was on YouTube in 2007 when they won a championship, 2008 when they were the best team in football for Burris shot himself. So, I mean, I lived good years on YouTube, but ever since I've come back about 10 years ago, they've been really bad outside of 2016, 2000, last year. Just they've been a bad team. It's been rough to live through this era of Giants football. I came in at the right time. They were one of the best teams in football when I started watching them, and they were really good for the better part of 30 years. But the last 10 seasons have a lot left to be desired. They really test you as a fan. They really do. But this team, it just seems to me every time I get to this point in the year, I am emotionally drained. Samurai, thank you for your donation, man. Really appreciate that. $20 for Toys for Tots. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you just tuned in lieu of all super chats tonight, any donations made to this channel are going directly to Toys for Tots. I don't get a dime of any donations into YouTube. We do a fundraiser on YouTube. 100% of all donations go to the charity that's doing the fundraiser for. So, just so you know. So I appreciate that. So all 20, YouTube don't take a cut. I don't take a cut. Nobody, Toys for Tots gets 100% of the donations. So thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. I don't think anybody's devastated by the loss. It's disappointing. Anytime we lose, it's disappointing. Nobody likes to lose. Well, at least I don't. I mean, there's going to be some people do like to lose. Maybe that's their mindset. Maybe they enjoy losing. Maybe they're used to losing, not just their football team, but maybe in life they're used to that. Maybe that's their mindset. It ain't my mindset. Everything I do, I want to succeed. And I'm not afraid to fail because that comes with success. You learn from your failures. You're never going to succeed unless you fail because you don't know how to learn from your failures. So, devastated, no. Disappointed, yes. I want to win every game. I don't like losing. I don't like my teams losing. I'm competitive by nature, always have been. Always want the best. I always expect the best out of myself. I expect the best out of everybody else. Doesn't mean it's going to win. That doesn't mean you're going to win. I just expect people to give their best effort. That's all I can ask. I can't ask them to win every game. Saints out-talented us today. They out-slugged us. They out-physicaled us. They were way better than us today. Way better. We had a nice 3-game run. It was fun. But it is what it is. Like I said, I thought the game would be closer. I really did. I thought that week, I don't think the Saints they're not an extremely strong team. We knew defensively they were pretty good. I think the most disappointing aspect of this game for me was the fact that they got no pressure on Derek Carr, because Derek Carr is not a mobile guy. Derek Carr is not a quarterback that's going to beat you with his legs. And he's also a guy that is not very good under pressure. So I felt like the Giants could get pressure on him and they could force turnovers and they could really kind of, halt the Saints offense, but they didn't. The Saints, Derek Carr had a great day. He was protected all day. They ran the ball effectively. I mean, they did everything on offense that they wanted to do because we could not get any pressure. And that hurts. And Derek Carr is certainly a capable quarterback when he has time in the pocket. So they were able to do it. It is what it is. That's what it is. But it is what it. I don't know what to say, man. It's the same thing over and over and over again every year. We talk about the draft. The one thing that was nicer the last month was really not talking about the draft. I mean, you still do, but we've been talking about the draft since the middle of October. And it seems that happens every year. So you're already foregone. The football season's already over by that point for us. I joked around about it this year. Well, the Yankees weren't very good. But normally the Yankee season lasts longer than the Giants season does. The Yankees are still playing at the end of October. The Giants were already talking about April. And it sucks because as a fan, the offseason for a football team is long. I mean, even after the Super Bowl, it's 7 months before we get to a game that matters. So you wait all spring, all summer, and then you get all ready to go for the football season, and especially when your team's coming off a playoff victory and you feel like you improved in the offseason and second season on their system, when you actually go in, at least I did with, I wouldn't say high expectations, but expectations of them at least winning 8 or 9 games and being competitive and closing the gaps on the teams that are better than us. And you come out and you get beat 40-0, and next thing you know, you're 1-6. It's not where you want to be. And it seems to happen every year where you wait 7 months, you get all hyped up, and then 5 weeks into the season, you're already talking about the off season again. It's been a vicious cycle for the New York Giants, without question. It's just, it has been bad, man. It's been rough. Like I said, it'll test you as a football fan, without question. And I feel bad for the younger viewers who have never seen this team really compete. I mean, they won in February 2012. And in my opinion, for you actually to kind of understand the semblance of what went on, you'd have to be at least 18 years old now. Like, you'd have to be, and you would have had to be very young to have seen them win that Super Bowl in 2012. But I think you got to be at least 18 or 19 to have actually seen that. So if you're still in high school, you've probably never seen the Giants win a Super Bowl. And that's tough. As a Yankee fan, I went through that in the 80s. They were good, but they never made the playoffs because there was no wild card team in the 80s. And they didn't win a World Series until I was 21 years old in 96. So, Samurai, thank you again, man. Really appreciate $20 donation for Toys for Tots, man. Thank you so much. Really means a lot to me and obviously to those kids. Christmas coming up here a week from tomorrow. So thank you so much, brother. Really, really appreciate that very much. So thank you for that. Video games. Yeah, I don't understand why they don't run to his side. It does not make a lot of sense to me why they don't run to his side. It's hard to believe. And I'm like, am I the only one that sees this? Am I the only one that sees them never run to that side of the football, or the football to that side of the line of scrimmage? I'm like, they always go to the right, always run to the right. They never run left. Never. Samurai says I got lucky and was at the Indy Super Bowl. My dad was, I'm sure it was awesome. I'm sure it was awesome. I've never been to a Super Bowl, but I'm sure that it had to be amazing. I know watching it at my house was amazing. Every time I watch the Giants win a Super Bowl, it was amazing. But like I said, man, as a fan, I loves his team and has loved it for 40 years. Watching them not be good is tough. Watching other teams play and play well, and you watch the Eagles. York. I believe that's my girl Gwendolyn. Thank you so much. $120. The Toys for Tots. Thank you so much for that, York. I really appreciate that. I believe that's Gwendolyn. I believe it's Gwendolyn. But thank you so much. Really, really very generous, very kind of you. Thank you so much. Hit the thumbs up. We got 86 likes. We need more now. We need at least 100 likes on this one. At least. But oops, I just lost my little thingy here. But yeah, it's been tough, no question about it. And now obviously the season's over. It was very strange as I said, going into the day, you're watching the scoreboard for playoff position. You're also watching it for draft position. I don't remember the last time. I don't know if that's ever happened in my life going into week 14 of a season, or week 15 rather of a season, where I'm looking at the scoreboard for draft position and playoff position. Very weird. But now it's over. I mean, 5-9, you're not making the postseason. You're not beating the Eagles. And I also see, I think it was Ralph Pacquiao's talking about Tyrod Taylor. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gable starts Tyrod Taylor. Yo! Anonymous! $121 for Toys for Tots. Thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate that. Pretty sure we got to our goal already. I swear to God, I thought they showed this goal somewhere, but I don't see it anywhere. I could have swore they showed the goal like on my whatchamacallit, like on the I could have swore they showed this someplace. Like on the my studio, and they don't show it anywhere. I wonder if it's in my like if I go to the, it's weird. They've always shown this. At least I thought they did. Let's see. Let's see if they do this. And where is showing analytics? Well, I guess it shows it after the fact. I don't know. I could have swore they showed it someplace, but we got to be there now. We got to be there. York, thank you for the $4 donation. Really appreciate that. Let's go. We got, like I said, we have had to have hit that goal by now. Really appreciate you guys, girls, donating. Like I said, to Toys for Tots, and thank you. Thank you for being a friend. Let's go. Appreciate it very much. Got to go back up here to StreamYard, but yeah, hit $300. So thank you guys and girls for that. That really means a lot to me. As I've said, this Christmas season, I usually do these the fundraisers for Toys for Tots Salvation Army, because obviously Samurai, thank you so much. Anonymous, thank you so much. Thank you guys and girls for the donations of Toys for Tots. Really, really do appreciate that very much. So that's one of our favorites. My wife and I always have like our favorites. St. Jude's is I'm sorry, Make-A-Wish is one of our favorites. Make-A-Wish, St. Jude's, Toys for Tots. It's usually things for kids. Obviously, we do a 24-hour stream every year. It'll be once a year now for charity. Last year, Stand Up to Cancer, which we raised $1,100 for. I'm no Tom Grossi. I mean, let's not get it twisted. That guy raises hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't have that kind of following, but I definitely appreciate all you guys and girls donate to that very much. But as I was saying, with Tyrod Taylor, I read Vacchiano talking about there's no reason to start Tyrod Taylor at this point. No reason to start. The Don says that. If you're not start Tyrod, it's not DeVito's fault. Wide receivers can't get open. O-line can't block. Slayton is. It's not even that, Don. It's not even that. The thing is, whether Tyrod Taylor gives the Giants a better chance to win or not, at this point of the season, your season's over. And I'm not saying go out there losing out. We know Tommy DeVito can win games. So it's not like you're sitting there going, just throwing it in like he has. It's not like you're throwing Jake Fromm out there instead of Tyrod Taylor. We know DeVito can win. We've seen him win. He's won 3 games. He won more games than both Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones had combined. So we know he can win. We know he's serviceable. We know he can get the job done. This is not just some, where they're just going to throw DeVito out there and forego it like tank. But Tyrod Taylor's not here next year. He's not going to be here next year. You might as well get Tommy DeVito the snaps. You might as well get him the experience. Let him take his lumps against the Eagles a couple of times. You might as well. Because if they don't draft the quarterback and they do go into the year with Daniel Jones, which is possible, I don't think it's likely. I do think the Giants are going to take a quarterback. But regardless if they go, we don't know how healthy Daniel Jones is going to be week 1 of the season. And number 2, we know Daniel Jones has a tendency to get injured. This has happened to him over the course of his career. And they're not minor. They're not minor injuries. It's not a sprained ankle. It's not a calf pull. It's not a strained groin. Not even a concussion. We're talking 3 neck injuries and a torn ACL in his career so far. And 2 neck injuries and a torn ACL this season. So these aren't just rub some dirt on it and go back out there and play injuries. They're serious. So you really ought to know if you're going into the season next year, and Daniel Jones will be on this team next year. If you're going into the season with him starting, you better know that your backup is capable, because history tells us Daniel Jones most likely is going to spend some time on the bench or spend some time on the injured list. It's just what's happened to him. Not all his fault, and they can't protect him, but obviously your offensive line's terrible, and he's getting knocked around left and right. You got to know you have a backup that can play. So you might as well make sure Tommy DeVito's that guy, and if he's not, then you go another route going into next year. And if you do draft a quarterback, then you decide at that point, hey, do we want to go in with 3 quarterbacks? Do we just let DeVito walk? Because the other thing is, if you draft a quarterback in next year, you're obviously not keeping Daniel Jones past 2024, so he's gone, and they're going to need a backup for the rookie quarterback. So you might as well take a look and see if DeVito can do it. I think he can. He had the Giants overall had a bad game today. He wasn't good. But that is what it is. So you have to, just like I said, he's not a starter. Not with his team. I mean, like I said, you put a team like San Francisco around him, he probably could be. The Giants, though, it's much different. It's much different. They're in a very compromising position, this football team. It's not very good. Do I think we should keep Dex much longer? Dexter just signed a long-term contract. He's not going anywhere. Dexter Lawrence just signed a mega deal in the offseason. He's not going anywhere. He is not going anywhere at all. Yeah, I saw that. Yamamoto and the Yankees are meeting again. I did see that. Adoree mailed it in today. Adoree had a rough one today. Adoree's not coming back either. He's not coming back either. DJ's a future in the X. I don't think Daniel Jones, I've said this a million times. I'll say it a million more. Okay. Physically, I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I don't care. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I think Daniel Jones physically he has his skills. He has a good enough skill set to be successful at this level, without question. His issue is he processes slowly, and he doesn't always have the best awareness in the pocket. And when you have a team like the New York Giants, who have a pathetically bad offensive line, and you have a quarterback that is processes slowly, that's just a recipe for a disaster. And now that he has a torn ACL, I mean, how effective are his legs? I mean, I'm sure he can still run, but doesn't that make them less effective when he's coming off an ACL? To me, I mean, Barkley's still really good, but I don't see the explosion that he had before that ACL injury. I don't see that guy. I don't see that explosiveness, that breakaway speed. You see flashes of it now and again, but you really don't see Barkley taking things at a house the way he did before the ACL. So with Daniel Jones coming off a torn ACL, it really takes away from a lot of what he does if he doesn't recover 100%. And a lot of times it takes 2 years for that thing to full heal physically, and then mentally is another thing. A lot of times guys are worried about it because we saw Saquon come off that ACL injury the next year, and he wasn't close to the running back that he was. Not close. Last year, he looked like he was back to normal. But in 2021, that was not the Saquon Barkley that we were accustomed to seeing coming off that ACL in 2020. You just don't know. Again, physical things being aside, his stats aside, his record aside, the injury history should be the most concerning for any Daniel Jones supporter or detractor, whatever side you're on, or if you're in the middle. I think the injury history is the most concerning, Because even if he does come out and he does play well like he did last season, I thought Daniel Jones played very well last season. I thought Daniel Jones earned that contract. I didn't think the Giants had much of a decision to make. I thought they made the one decision that they could make. But when you're looking at a guy that's having a hard time staying on the field and now he's dealt with a number of neck injuries, it's just, you just kind of expect it at this point. And if he has another neck injury and it's a bad neck injury, he could be done for the rest of his career. Like it ended David Wilson's career. David Wilson was an incredibly talented running back that had a neck injury and he had to retire. The neck injuries are no joke. You know, as a football player, injuries happen, but also there's life after football for these guys. And you don't, if you're a guy, you don't want to have your quality of life shortened or be really poor because, you know, Daniel Jones is, say he's 32 and he can't stand upright anymore, or he's in a, you know, whatever, he's got disc issues in his neck and he's in pain for the rest of his life. What kind of quality of life is he going to have? So again, that's a big concerning thing. And this is why there's a couple reasons the Giants did not give him the 5th-year option. Everybody's going to talk shit about giving him the 5th-year option. I mean, hindsight being 2020, obviously it would have been the best case scenario. That he came off a neck injury. He was under a new regime. He was not Joe Shane's quarterback. He had not proven that he deserved that 5-year deal. And they didn't know what he was. He had a neck injury the year before. They didn't know where the neck injury was. I don't think he was cleared to play till August. They didn't know where he was until August. You can't just go, we're going to give the guy $22 million, and he may not even play. So somebody said, what did I think of Dallas? I don't know. Either Buffalo played really well today. I think it was a combination. I think, I'll be honest, Buffalo is a scary team. Should have beat Philadelphia. If Gabe Davis turns the correct way, they beat Philadelphia. Buffalo is a very good team, a very dangerous team. It does not matter what your record is if you make the playoffs. Everybody's 0-0 when they start in the playoffs. Buffalo is a very dangerous team. I would never count them out, especially since I do not see an incredibly dominant team in the AFC. Kansas City is nowhere close to what they were. How about Kadarius Toney causing another interception today? How about Kadarius Toney dropping another pass that leads to an interception and Pat Mahomes being pissed off? Remember Travis Kelce? Oh, no, the Giants let that guy get away, but I'm glad we got him. Kadarius Toney is ass. Ass. He is terrible. Terrible. He's terrible. Could have gotten to a nicer guy. But Kansas City ain't what they were. I think Buffalo is just a really good team. I also think part of Dallas's issue, and it is human nature, they had that huge game against Philadelphia. Huge. And they came out and they proved a point. And they kicked Philadelphia's ass. Might have had a bit of an emotional letdown. Not that Buffalo was any slouch by any stretch of the imagination. But you come off a gigantic win, a huge win, like that against Philadelphia, you get all geared up for that game against the Eagles. You have a tendency to let down a little bit, maybe. I think it was a combination of both. Buffalo just owned them all day today. And that happens. It definitely happens. But Dallas, this is why it's a week-to-week league. Last week, Dallas crushes Philadelphia. You're going, oh, what's wrong with Philadelphia? You're thinking to yourself, Dallas is one of the best teams in the league. Dak Prescott's the favorite for MVP. He was during the bet. You know, you looked at the betting lines for MVP today. He was the bet. He was right at the top. I didn't see what the final score was. It was 31-3 when I turned it off. But you get thumped 31-3. You look like crap. All of a sudden, Dak Prescott's not the guy. Now you're probably looking at Brock Purdy. It changes from week to week. So everybody's like, oh, you flip-flop. You did this. Of course. Of course you do. If you're being objective, then you're not pushing a narrative, and you're willing to come off your stance from week to week because it changes week to week. Of course you're gonna have a differing opinions. It happens every week. That's why in college football they have different rankings every week. That's why teams go up and down. Not that the NFL power rankings mean anything, but these people that do the power rankings, that's why they go up and down. That's why PFF grades go up and down. Because of performances. Your past performance is what you're graded on. And so what have you done for me lately? You have a really good performance, people are going to pump you up. You got a bad performance, people are going to rag on you. All they're doing is reacting to what they see. That's it. That's it. You react to what you see. Tommy DeVito, hey, it was great for 3 weeks. Today, Superman lost his cape. Today was Clark Kent. You know, you're not gonna see all the love affair Monday. You're not gonna see all this tomorrow. You're not gonna see anything about his agent. It goes away. For 3 weeks, we rode this high. Everybody, even in college, and the Saints players are sacking DeVito, doing this today. It's all over the place. Just like insanity. We dealt with this in New York before. We've seen this in New York before. In a season that's miserable, just like it was for the Knicks years ago when Jeremy Lin took over, he was a nobody, came out of nowhere. For 2 weeks, he was the toast of the town. Knicks were winning games. He was outperforming anything anybody could have possibly ever fathomed. He did. It's like Tommy DeVito. And you're probably going to get another dose of reality against Philadelphia when they smack the Giants around, because regardless of how nice the story is, regardless of how much we love Tommy DeVito, at least I did, I'm still a fan of the kid. I love what he did here. He outperformed all expectations, but the fact of the matter is the Eagles are 10 times better than us, and nobody, DeVito, Jones, whoever that, Tyrod, it does not matter who our starting quarterback is. The Eagles are way better than the Giants. And if the Saints can dominate on both sides of the line of scrimmage and Dallas dominates on both sides of the line of scrimmage, what the hell would make anybody think that the Eagles are not going to do the same thing to us? So it's going to come back down to reality. It's just what it is. You come crashing down. But that's what being a fan is. Being a fan is getting emotionally invested in your team. You get the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. You just have to accept it. That's what happens. You can't win every game. One team's won every game in the history of since the Super Bowl era. That's the 72 Dolphins. So, like I said, it was fun for a month. And today was back to reality. Today it was back to, oh Jesus, we're the Giants. Forgot about it for a while. Forgot we were the Giants for a month. It was a nice escape from reality. Today we went back to reality. So. But I'm not gonna sit here and kill Tommy DeVito, and we're just not a good team. I like somebody in the chat to me during a live stream today said I don't criticize any. I only criticize Daniel Jones. Said I did, and he spelled criticize wrong. Which anytime somebody spells a word incorrectly like that, I question their intelligence to begin with. It's not a hard word to spell. But if somebody thinks I've only criticized Daniel Jones and this team, they've never, ever seen a video that I've done. They've never seen a live stream that I've done. They've never seen a game that I've done. If they think that's the only guy that I've criticized in the Giants. I have criticized them all. I criticize them when they deserve it, and I give them praise when they deserve it. I don't play favorites at all. I do not play favorites here. I don't care who you are on this team. If you play bad, I'm going to say you play bad. If you play good, I'm going to say you play good. That's it. Saquon Barkley had 9 carries for 14 yards today. Inexcusable. It's terrible. Oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. I don't make excuses. He didn't play well. No, the line didn't block for him, but 9 carries for 14 yards? Come on. And the Giants have a tendency to get away from that way too early. I don't like that either. But part of the reason was they trailed a lot of the game, especially in the second half. The Saints took up their first possession, took up half the clock in the third quarter, and they scored a touchdown. But again, I don't care if you're Jones. I don't care if you're Barkley. I don't care if you're DeVito. I don't care if you're Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't care. If you play good, I'm going to say you were awesome. And if you don't, I'm going to say that was a bad game. That was a bad throw. That was a bad read. That was a terrible block. That was a terrible tackle, terrible coverage, low IQ play. What are you doing on 3rd 22? Why are you hitting him in the head? How do you leave him open? I don't care. Somebody else told me, he goes, oh, the players are why you love the team. Because I said in my postgame video, I said, I root for, well, I'm not wearing the Giants stuff right now because I couldn't find my Giants hat. I put it down. I can't find it. I root for the logo. Someone's like, oh, it's the players why you love it. That's bullshit. Players come and go. The Giants have been around. Next year will be their 100th year in the league. Okay. So this team's been around for about 100 years. There have been tens of thousands of players that have gone through the Giants organization. And the one thing that remains the same is the logo. I don't care who plays for this team. I care about I care about the guys wearing the uniforms, obviously. I care about the uniform. The guys that wear the uniform, I want them to produce. They go elsewhere, it's not really a big deal to me unless they play. Yeah, I'm going to make fun of Kadarius Toney because he talks shit. But perfect. When a guy like Linval Joseph goes, well, you think I care about what Linval Joseph does? Not that it was his fault, but he didn't say anything bad about the Giants. He didn't talk about the Giants. He's just gone. You think I care about what Jake Fromm or Mike Glennon did when they left the Giants? No, of course not. Because I care about what they do when they're with the Giants. That's it. I have seen the best players play for this franchise, and I've seen some of the worst players play for this franchise. And they've all come and gone. And regardless of who the hell is wearing the uniform, I root for the team every week. The guys that are wearing for it, I root for them. I want them to be the best. I want them to win football games. The Giants don't sign Kayvon Thibodeau when he goes over to Seattle. Well, there you go. Leonard Williams. When Leonard Williams played here, I want Leonard Williams kick ass. He's in Seattle. I don't care what Leonard Williams does. Leonard Williams has nothing to do with the Giants anymore. Nothing. He's good. He's good. He's bad. Bad. I don't care. It has nothing. Has no bearing on the Giants. But that was only said because people got mad at me for saying I wouldn't give Saquon Barkley a lot of money. Oh, no, I don't care. He's one of my favorite players. I don't care. Everybody's talking about how the line sucks. The line sucks. That's why Barkley's no good. But if the line's bad and Barkley can't run, why would you give Barkley all the money and not put the money in the offensive line? How the hell is that going to work? So you're going to give Barkley money because Barkley's good, but nobody can block for Barkley, so Barkley gets money. Offensive line still sucks, and the quarterback sucks, the running back sucks, and you're going to make excuses as to why the quarterback and the running back sucks while complaining about not even an offensive line, but you want to give the damn running back all the money. Make it make sense to me, because it doesn't. There are many teams without Saquon Barkley. There are many teams that win football games without Saquon Barkley. Many. Saquon Barkley's never won a Super Bowl. There's been many teams that have won a Super Bowl since Saquon Barkley got into the league. Isaac Pacheco won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? You don't necessarily need a superstar running back. The running back market is low. It's as low as it's been in years. Why? Well, because I think we know that the position's kind of gotten phased out. I mean, honestly, the only guy I can really think of that is that dude that just like carries is Derrick Henry. And McCaffrey. McCaffrey's a beast. But you don't need you need a good running game. You don't need a good running back. You know, the Eagles are a perfect example of that. Eagles have a great offensive line. They run the ball with Hurts. They run the ball with Swift. They run the ball with Scott. They run the ball with Gainwell. They don't need a superstar running back. It's not the 90s anymore. So I don't know, man. It's hook 'em. No, this is rock stuff. Horns down. I hate that. I'm a freaking Sooner fan. This is rock, man. This is all the rock stuff. You know. My where'd that go? Dad says I'm obviously joking. Can't stand Dimes. He's trash, period, no matter what his cult followers have to say. Well, I mean, like I said, man, everybody's got their opinion. And I don't even try to change opinions anymore. You're never gonna, people who don't want to change their opinion are never going to be swayed. If people don't have an open mind to stuff and can't admit they were wrong, they're never going to be swayed. It doesn't matter what you say to them. So I just stop. I just stopped trying, honestly. You know, there's no point. Again, I don't think Daniel Jones is a terrible quarterback. I just don't think he fits here. He just doesn't. He's the type of quarterback that needs a lot of really good things around him. And let's face it, the Giants do not put anything good around him at all. They just don't. If we were a better organization, we were better run, if we had a better offensive line and like a true number one receiver, I think that he would be good here. But we don't have any of that. And Daniel Jones is not good enough to elevate himself above all the deficiencies around him. He's just not. It's not that guy. It's not his fault. You know, the Giants should have built better around him. They didn't do it. Take it for what it's worth. You all stuck with Dimes now? No, not at all. He was coming back here next year, but that's it. He was coming back here next year regardless. He's a $69 million dead cap. He's going nowhere. Now, they're not stuck with him after 2024. If they want to move on from its $22 million dead cap as opposed to like a $50 million cap hit. So as much as the dead cap would hurt, they'd save money. They could easily draft the quarterback and jettison Daniel Jones after 2024 and go forward to the rookie, which is most likely what they're going to do. I'd be surprised if the Giants win another game this year. The Rams are playing well. The Eagles are the Eagles, way better than we are. The Giants go 5-12 and pick 5th. They're going to get a quarterback, especially if well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what like the Cardinals do or the Washington team does if they're ahead of us. If the Chargers end up ahead of us, they're not taking a quarterback. But if Joe Shane likes the guy, he might trade him and get him. He might not. They're not stuck with him. There'll be options. They're going to get to choose. They're going to get to choose. Do we want to go quarterback or do we want to stay with Daniel Jones? They're not stuck with him. They'll be able to make that decision. You know. So it is what it is. You know. Instead of bleed blue, we need to be called blue bulls. I know it's been tough. It's been a rough decade of Giants football. Without question. We're not going to draft high enough for Caleb Williams or Drake May. And that's the other thing that I find, which is amusing me. You obviously have people on this side of the fence for Daniel Jones. You have people on that side of the fence for Daniel Jones. And even the ones that don't want Daniel Jones, now you have the people on, I don't want Caleb Williams. I don't want Drake May. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't like Drake May. Not a Drake May fan at all. Definitely a Caleb Williams guy. Said that since day one. Don't care that he paints his nails. Don't care that he cries. Don't give a damn about any of it. We're not getting Caleb Williams. We're probably not getting Drake May. But if the Giants were picking number 1 overall and Joe Shane said, I want Drake May, I'm riding with him. That's just the way it goes. Whatever Joe Shane decides he wants to do, I'm not getting upset over it. I'm not going to get upset over it. I may not be happy with it, but I have to trust his vision. I wouldn't say I wasn't happy. I didn't understand the Wan'Dale Robinson pick, but Wan'Dale Robinson's looked really good. I didn't understand that pick, but it looking like it's going to be okay. So I have to trust whatever he does. The Giants look like they could have 3 top 45 picks this year. So there's a lot to maneuver with there. And I got to trust him. If he does his job, we're going to get out of this. We're going to become a better franchise. If he doesn't, he's going to get fired. We're going to go through this mess again. It is what it is. But I will be surprised if they don't go quarterback. I will be surprised. And again, people can they can say I hate on Daniel Jones all they want. I don't really care what people say. It's not really important. I give you my opinion. People can agree that they can disagree with it. I'm not going to sit here and argue with people over this. He's had an injury history. I don't believe that Brian Daboll really likes Daniel Jones. I felt like he's treated him like shit. I thought that from week 1 of this year when he left him out there to get killed against Dallas for no reason. And then he did it against Seattle. Again, he did it against Seattle. Why is he in the game? The offensive line can't block. You're getting your brain, you're getting your teeth kicked down your throat, and you got your starting quarterback out there. Doesn't make no sense to me why you're treating him like that. They didn't draft him. And they set this contract up to say, hey, if he performs as well as he did last year, he takes a step up and he continues to improve, we got a bargain. If he gets injured, if he regresses, we're out after 2 years. We'll get our quarterback in 2024. Daniel Jones will come back. We'll move on from Jones. We got our guy. And then they got their guy. But if Joe Shane and Brian Daboll say we're going to pass on a quarterback and they bring him back Daniel Jones and this happens again, they're both going to lose their job. They're both going to lose their job if that happens. I just can't see them. I can't see them hitching their wagon to Daniel Jones. I don't see it happening. This is a rich quarterback class. There are 4 guys right there that the Giants could look at. And again, everybody's got their favorite. Caleb Williams probably going number one. It's probably not. I can't see the Bears keeping Justin Fields. I may trade Justin Fields. I may whatever. I don't see Justin Fields being a Bear. He's almost a free agent. You have to pay him. Why would you pay him? He's not won anything with Chicago. You let him walk. He's had good moments. He had bad moments. He's inconsistent. He hasn't won. He turns the ball over a lot. They're going to move on. They're going to get a rookie. They're going to pay a rookie contract. Drake May probably going to go to the Patriots. They need a quarterback. Mac Jones sucks. Bailey Zappi sucks. Whoever the hell else they have there sucks. They need a quarterback. They're going quarterback. Jaden Daniels, a guy the Giants could get. Michael Penix, a guy the Giants could get. A lot of people don't want Michael Penix. Me personally, I'd be absolutely fine with Michael Penix being the quarterback of the Giants. He's out in injury history. I don't care. I don't care. Daniel Jones, no injury history outside of one time he had a broken collarbone and he played the next week anyway. No major injuries for Daniel Jones in college, injured all the time in the pros. No major injuries for Saquon Barkley in college, injured all the time in the pros. You don't know. Can't be scared. Adrian Peterson tore his ACL, didn't stop Minnesota from drafting him. Ended up being pretty good. Michael Penix, and they're like he's old. Michael Penix is 23. How is that old? I don't understand how that's old. Sometimes you want a seasoned guy from college. So I would have no problem with that. I have no problem with Jaden Daniels at all. I certainly wouldn't be happy if they took Bo Nix. I don't like Bo Nix. But if that's what Joe Schoen decides to do, Joe Schoen knows better than I do. The GM knows a lot better than I do. The scouting department knows a lot better than I do. That's their living. That's what they do as a profession. I don't do any of this as a profession. I'm just a fan. I just give you a fan. I give you my perspective as a fan of the New York Giants. I am no different than anybody in the chat. I'm no different than anybody out there. That's all I am. I don't pretend to be a guy that breaks down film. I don't pretend to be an analyst. I don't pretend to be right all the time. I don't go out of my way to point out when I'm right and other people are wrong because I don't care. That's not important to me. Do I want to be right? Of course. If I'm not, oh well, because I'm human. And I make mistakes. And everybody makes mistakes. And everybody's wrong at some time, and everybody's right at some time. So going back and pointing out when somebody's wrong is just a wasted time for me. I don't care. I just want the Giants to win. I don't give a shit if I'm right or I'm wrong. I want the Giants to win. I don't care about anything else. As a fan, it's not important to me. It does not matter. I watch guys on television and listen to them on the radio. They make millions of dollars, millions, set for the rest of their life. They're wrong too. They're wrong too. It doesn't matter. Nobody's perfect. Some people think they're perfect. Narcissistic personality disorders is a thing, especially on social media. It really is. Really is. A lot of people deal with it's an outlet for narcissism. It really is. And if they're wrong, or you catch them being wrong, then you'll make an excuse and deflect. And they can't just go, well, you're right. That was wrong. It was wrong on my part. That's what it is. You were wrong about Jalen Hurts, Baddog. Yeah, I was. So were a lot of other people. But I was. It happens, I was right about Sam Darnold. But I don't go back to people like Sam Darnold's going to be beast. Go, I told you he was going to be. I told you he was going to suck. I don't care. I just want to win. I just want the Giants to win football game. That's it. This channel is obviously I do Laker play-by-play because I like getting away from the monotony of New York sports and just focusing on a team that really, I wouldn't say I'm not a fan. Like I'm not a Laker fan. I enjoy doing their games. I certainly pull for them when I'm doing their games, but it allows me to get away from New York sports. It allows me to get away from them because the Giants ain't fun right now. And they haven't been fun, but they were fun last year. And even last year, people were, Daniel Jones is ass, Daniel Jones is trash, Daniel Jones is average. I don't care. They were winning football games. I don't care what Daniel Jones did statistically. I care that they won. It's a big difference between guys that are my age and the younger generation that is into fantasy football and Madden football. I play fantasy football, but I don't really care. It's just kind of something to make it interesting. If I'm in a fantasy football league and the Bills are playing the Chargers, and normally I don't care about the Bills and the Chargers, but if Stephon Diggs is my wide receiver, I'm going to watch and see what he does. But at the end of the day, if my fantasy football team loses because I'm going against Saquon Barkley and he goes off for 147 yards and 3 touchdowns and the Giants win, I don't give a shit about my fantasy football team. And I have not played Madden in 20 years. So I certainly don't care about that. I just want the Giants to win football games. I don't care how they do it. I don't care why they do it. I don't care what the only stat I care about at the end of the day when it comes to the Giants is that they have more points than their opponent. And unfortunately, more often than not in the last decade, that has not been the case. It just is what it's been a very, very rough decade of Giants football. And unfortunately, you don't know when we're getting out of it. It looked like last year they had figured it out. They had accelerated the process. It looked like Daniel Jones took a major step forward. The offensive line still had a lot left to be desired. They drafted John Michael Schmitz. They added Jalen Hyatt. They added Darren Waller. It looked like it was going to get a lot better. They beefed up the defensive line. You know, they drafted Deonte Banks. It was the second year in a system. You felt like the Giants could at least compete with Dallas. You figured we may not win, but at least we're closer. That wasn't the case. Injuries happen. It just it's just been and it's been the same story for years and years. And that's why no matter what people said about last year with the Giants, it was a fluke. They were no good. We knew they were no good. They got lucky. I don't care. It was a fun ride for me. Winning a playoff game for the Giants was fun for me. You know, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed watching them win football games in exciting fashion, coming back. I enjoyed watching them make the postseason and win a postseason game. I hadn't felt that in 10 years. Didn't know what that was like. You know, and then we ran into a really good Eagles team that has beat the hell out of us for many years now. We're going to run into that team again on Christmas. So, I don't know, man. I freaking hate. I just hate where we are as a franchise. We're kind of in no man's land. We're kind of in purgatory right now. It's rough. It's rough. And like I said, the thing that sucks so bad is as a Giants fan, you get so hyped up for the season. You get all hyped up for the season. You wait 7 months. And then in 5 weeks' time, you're already looking forward to next season. You can't wait as a Giants fan. You can't wait for the season to get here. The middle of October, you can't wait for the season to end. That's rough. That's rough. And like I said, man, the other fan bases have it worse. The Jets fan base, in my opinion, has it worse. People, like I just saw somebody in the chat say Brian Daboll is Joe Judge 2.0. I could not disagree with that more. These players play hard for Brian Daboll. If it was Joe Judge, they would have folded. I cannot agree. I could not disagree with that comparison more. Brian Daboll is not Joe Judge. I still believe in Brian Daboll. I think he had a bad season. I think the Giants believed a little bit of their own hype. I don't think they ever emotionally recovered from the beatdown that Dallas gave them week 1. They dealt with many injuries. They did everything incorrectly this year. All the things they did right last year, they did wrong. The little things, the clock management, the substitutions, the not using timeouts, the turnovers. They did everything incorrectly this year. Little things that won games for us last year, lost games for us this year. The false start on 3rd down and 1 that ended our season. C. Jins, thank you so much for donating $10 of Toys for Tots. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the donation. As I've said, if you just tuned in tonight, in lieu of any super chats, on this channel. Any donations made to this channel tonight, 100% of them go to Toys for Tots. This is a fundraiser for Toys for Tots, which means I take no percentage of it, and YouTube takes no percentage of it. 100% of every donation goes to Toys for Tots tonight. Tell you why? I just told you why. They play hard for Coach Dable. They came back and they won. They were 2-8. They could have mailed it in easily. They fought hard. If you look at the way they react in the locker room to Brian Dable, he's not Joe Judge. He's not Joe Judge. Not at all. He's much better than Joe Judge. Without question. Joe Judge didn't know what the hell he was doing. It was pretty obvious. He didn't. Did Brian Dable have some questionable decisions here? Yeah. And I certainly criticized Brian Dable too. There's nobody above criticism on this team when it comes to me. Nobody. You look at my videos from the beginning of the year. I talked about Brian Dable having a bad beginning of the year, questioning why he left Daniel Jones in the game against Seattle and Dallas, saying he's got a lot to answer for. But he's not Joe Judge. And he ain't going to be fired after this year at all. He'll remain the coach next year without question. And not to mention, Brian Dable won a playoff game. Here. Giants ain't won a playoff game since their last Super Bowl. Joe Judge never did that. Joe Judge didn't have a winning record here. Joe Judge didn't come close. You know, that's why he's not Joe Judge. Is he on shaky ground? I don't think he's on shaky ground this season. Now, next year, if this happens again and they don't draft the quarterback, I agree with you. Dire Giants fan, you're the man. Thank you so much for the $20 donation to Toys for Tots. Really, really appreciate that. For you guys and girls that donated, I might as well leave this drop here because this is one of my favorite drops. And Anonymous, thank you for the $20 donation for Toys for Tots. Really, really appreciate that, man. Thank you, or lady. It's anonymous, so I don't know. But thank you so much for the donations for Toys for Tots. Really, really do appreciate that very much. So next week is a week the Yankees get. I hope so, Dan. I hope they do get Yamamoto, without question. But again, this season it's been extremely difficult, no question, and that's why I'm just looking forward to it being over at this point. You know, because again, I don't think there's any major changes coming. I think Kafka will be gone. I'm just looking forward to the draft. But after Joe Judge's last year in 2021, I think we all knew Gettleman was going and he was going to be fired. So we knew there was a lot of changes coming. This offseason, I don't think there's going to be that. I would like Wink Martindale to be back here. I don't think that Wink Martindale is the reason the Giants lose football games. You know, I think the Giants have had a couple hiccups on defense. And I think that I think the defense is good enough. I mean, it could get better, but I think if we had some semblance of an offense that could sustain drives and score touchdowns, I think the defense would be a lot better. I think when you have an offense, regardless of if it's Daniel Jones under center, Tommy DeVito, or Tyrod Taylor, or Jaden Daniels, or whoever the hell your quarterback is, I feel like if you don't have sustained drives, you don't convert on third downs, and you can't score touchdowns, and you're getting 6 to 9 points, 12 points, 14 points game, you're putting an awful lot of pressure on your defense, and eventually they're going to crack. If you're having sustained drives, if you put up 24, 27, you have a 7-8 minute drive, and you finish it off with a touchdown, your defense can rest, your defense is going to be better. So I do think the Giants could use another edge rusher without question. And I definitely think that they could use another corner. I mean, Adoree Jackson's going to be gone. But I think that defensive unit is good enough. I think the focus needs to be on getting an explosive playmaker, quarterback. And again, people, say, well, where are you going to draft a lineman? You don't need to draft a lineman. We've drafted tons of linemen. Spend the money and buy one. Spend the money and get a guy that's proven he can play at this level. Because obviously the lineman that we have drafted outside of Andrew Thomas, we don't know what JMS is going to be yet. He's a rookie, and he's been injured. I can't sit here and go, he sucks or he's great yet. I have faith in him. But I had faith in Evan Neal too, and Evan Neal never took that step forward. So it just hasn't worked what we've done on the offensive line as far as drafting goes. Get a good lineman and get a quarterback, and you got to work on the offensive side of the ball. You really got to focus on that side of the football. That side of the football really needs work. The defense needs a couple pieces, but it's good enough. That offensive side of the football is not good enough. It's not close to being good enough, and it needs to get much better without question. Without question. No, so it is what it is. Well, thank you, Frederick. I appreciate the donation for Toys for Tots, man. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, I'm listening, Cookie Monster. Yeah, they're definitely not. They're not great. Mid is a good. It's a good term for the defense. They got some playmakers there. They have shown signs of being really good, but at the same time, they've been inconsistent. I agree. They do need players there, but I think that if you get better players on offense and that offense balances out the defense by default gets better. But when you're 3 and out, and you're punting the ball 7 times, 8 times a game, and you put the pressure on that defense constantly, where it's almost like they can't make a mistake, they're going to falter eventually. It's just like the Yankee pitching this year. You know, as the Yankee offense was horrible. It was embarrassing. And when you're a Yankee pitcher, you go out every game going, God, you go out every game, you go out every start, and you get on the bump, and you sit there and go, Jesus, if I give up 2 runs, I might not win tonight. That's added pressure. The defense has that every week that they go out there, saying, Jesus, if we give up a touchdown, we might not win this game. If we give up, they gave up a field goal and then they're like, well, we can't give up any more points, or, they're down, 10-3. The rest of the game, like defense, like, oh, we can't give up any more points. We can't make any more mistakes. And it's a lot of pressure for a defense to handle. And again, they're going to get tired if the offense can't control the ball and the defense is out there 2/3 of the game. It's, something the Giants did well last year was run the football and have sustained drives. It's the reason that they won more games. But this year it hasn't been that way. So offense, no matter who it's been, it hasn't been good at all. Yeah, they looked a little better with Tyrod Taylor. The offense did. They moved the ball, but at the end of the day, they scored 23 points, them starting. And Tommy DeVito, again, a lot of excitement for DeVito, throwing a couple of deep passes. It looked like their offense got a little bit more creative. They put up 24 offensive points against Washington. They put up 6 today. They put up 10 against New England. It's not like they blew the doors off of anybody. They did put up 24 against Green Bay, but we also had a lot of turnovers in these games and probably should have put up 38, right? So, again, I just feel like if the Giants' offense gets better, their defense by default will become a better unit, without question. So, all around it needs improvement. I mean, there's no set. I don't think the Giants are really set at any position outside of left tackle and Andrew Thomas and defensive tackle and Dexter Lawrence, and obviously cornerback in Deontay Banks. Other than that, I mean, where are they really set? Where do you look at Okereke is going to be the middle linebacker. I love the Okereke signing. I think it was great. But where do you look at this? Excuse me. Where do you look at this team and go, yep, we're set there, we're set there, we're set there, we're set there. We don't have a number 1 wide receiver. We don't have a tight end. I don't know what the deal is with Saquon. He's a free agent. They could do whatever the hell they want with him. Rough. They're in a bad spot. But we're gonna find out what they do this offseason. The draft will be very interesting. But like I said, for me, it just sucks. And I know I'm not the only one that you wait all these months for the season to start. You get all excited, especially coming off a playoff win. I was geeked for this year. I was ready for these guys to take a major step forward. I was ready for Evan Neal to take that step. I was ready for Daniel Jones to take that step. I was I was ready for them to be a good offensive team, not a great offensive team, but a better offensive team than they were last year. I expected them to be better. They were not. And it just sucks. You wait 7 months for it to get here. 5 weeks into the season, you can't wait for it to end. And then once it ends, you're going to sit there and wait for it to begin again. So out of a 52-week year, for 5 weeks, you can root for the Giants. And the other 47 weeks, you're just waiting for the season to end and for the next season to begin. That's not conducive for a fan. That's not really where a fan wants to be. I know it's interesting to talk about the draft, especially when you feel like you need a quarterback and it's a really good quarterback class. I know that's which one. It's interesting to do that. But I don't like having to talk about the draft in October. I liked last year when we weren't talking about the draft and we weren't talking about the playoffs. It's just much healthier as a Giants fan to be talking about that as opposed to the draft before Halloween. That's where we were, and that's where we've been. The 3-game winning streak was fun, but we all knew that this team wasn't going anywhere, you know. But listen, guys and girls, I'm going to get out of here. I did this early today because I wanted to go out, get some sleep tonight. I actually wanted to hang out with my kid for a little bit. But I hadn't done one of these therapy sessions in a long time. Cookie Monster, I think they're 5th or 6th now. I think they're 5th or 6th. I think they're somewhere in there. But you know, I always appreciate you guys and girls hanging out. It has certainly been a very trying season for us Giants fans, and would never be able to. Well, I could not get through this season without you guys and girls, without question. It would be extremely tough to get through the season alone. So I'm glad that at least I have somebody to go through it with. And, you know, your support means the world to me on this channel. One of these days, you know, before I die, God willing, I plan to live another 30 or 40 years. Now, I don't know how long I plan on doing YouTube. But, you know, I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. But I would really like to have a good franchise, and not just one outlier season where we're in the playoffs. I would like to have a really good franchise like it was when they drafted Eli from 2005 to 2012, and they win a couple of Super Bowls, we're in the playoffs, and we can sit there and pound our chest and say, hey, we're the best, we're great, we're doing this. When you go into every week feeling like you're going to win. When's the last time as a Giants fan we had that feeling like we were going to go in, like every game we run into, like we can beat this team, we can beat this team, we can beat this team? Not since 2011 for me. So I don't know. Just sucks. It just I hate having to do. I just hate them losing the way they do. It's just so much losing, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys and girls, again, I really do appreciate it. I will be live for the Knicks and Lakers tomorrow at 10:15, maybe 10:05. Might be a little bit earlier. Obviously, that's a very fun game for me as a Knicks fan and as a guy that calls all Laker games. And again, I would call that right down the middle. We don't favor either team out of respect for all the Laker fans in the stream, and me being a Knicks fan. Obviously, I'm not going to sit there and pull for the Lakers. That's not happening. I will definitely be pulling for the Knicks, but you will not know by the way I call the game. So, again, I really do appreciate it. It's been a long time. I will be live. We'll do this again on Christmas Day, but it'll be later at night once everything settles down. We'll come in. We'll talk about the game one way or the other, whether they win or lose. I kind of expect them to lose, but we will do another hangout for that. And then, of course, once this season's over, because it'll give me some more time. Now, during the Giants, obviously this time of year with the Giants and the Lakers, there's very little time for me to do much of anything. But once we get through this football season, there will be the members only streams will be coming back probably in January. So once we get past the new year, we'll start doing those again, because I definitely been slacking on those, and I need to bring those back without question. So again, guys and girls, I really do appreciate you hanging out. And again, we crushed that goal of $300 for Toys for Tots. So thank you so much for that. That really means a lot to me. Really do appreciate everybody that donated to Toys for Tots tonight. We will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, guys. If you're not watching the game already, go watch the game. I'm going to go hang out with my kid, and I'm going to get some sleep tonight for a change. I got a late night tomorrow. The Knicks and Lakers playing at 10:30, so I'm not going to get to bed at like 1:30 in the morning. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, girls, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you next time. Bad Diggy Dizzle, and I'm out. Peace.